What if the biggest barrier to success wasn't external but internal? Ryan Holiday's ego is the enemy reveals how our own ego, the false sense of superiority and self-importance, can sabotage progress and fulfillment. This is the story of how I confronted my own ego, learning humility, discipline, and resilience to achieve lasting success. Holiday begins by addressing how ego hinders our aspirations. When we're striving for something, ego often inflates our confidence and blinds us to the hard work and learning required to succeed. Instead of focusing on growth, we become fixated on appearances or external validation. I saw myself in this description. There were times when I pursued goals not for personal fulfillment, but to impress others. My ego made me overestimate my abilities and underestimate the effort needed. Holiday's words forced me to confront this habit and refocus on genuine progress. To combat ego, I started practicing humility. I sought feedback from mentors and peers, valuing their insights instead of dismissing them. I also adopted a beginner's mindset, reminding myself that there was always more to learn. This wasn't easy. Ego resisted being questioned, but each effort to listen and learn sharpened my perspective. Holiday's lesson taught me that true aspiration requires discipline and openness, not arrogance. I also made an effort to celebrate the successes of others, recognizing their achievements instead of seeing them as threats to my own progress. This simple shift reduced the competitive nature of my goals and made the journey more collaborative and fulfilling. It was a reminder that growth isn't a solo pursuit. It often happens within a community of support and shared wisdom. Holiday explains that success often feeds ego, making us complacent or overconfident. When we achieve something, ego tempts us to believe we've arrived and no longer need to improve. This mindset can lead to stagnation or even failure. I experienced this firsthand after completing a major project at work. Instead of building on that success, I became complacent, assuming my accomplishments would speak for themselves. But as Holiday warns, success is temporary if not followed by continuous effort and humility. To counter this, I adopted the practice of gratitude. Instead of letting success inflate my ego, I focused on appreciating the journey and the contributions of others who supported me. Gratitude grounded me and reminded me that no achievement is ever truly individual. I also set new goals immediately after achieving old ones, keeping myself grounded and forward-focused. Holiday's insights reminded me that success is not a destination but a stepping stone. I began seeking constructive criticism even after successful endeavors. It was humbling, but it also highlighted areas for improvement that I had overlooked. This practice turned success into a platform for learning rather than a reason to pause. Each accomplishment became an opportunity to strive for something greater, reinforcing the idea that growth is infinite. Failure, Holiday explains, can be just as dangerous as success when it comes to ego. Instead of taking responsibility, ego drives us to blame others or external circumstances. This prevents us from learning and growing from our mistakes. I recalled a time when I failed to meet a critical deadline. My initial reaction was to blame the complexity of the task and lack of support. But deep down, I knew I hadn't managed my time effectively. Confronting this truth was difficult, but it was also liberating. Inspired by Holiday's message, I began reframing failure as feedback. I asked myself, what can I do differently next time? This shift in perspective allowed me to take ownership of my actions and make meaningful improvements. Failure, I learned, is not the end. It's an opportunity to grow if we set our ego aside. To ensure I learned from my failures, I started journaling about them. Writing down what went wrong and brainstorming solutions helped me turn setbacks into actionable lessons. I also shared my failures with trusted friends and mentors, seeking their perspectives and advice. This vulnerability not only deepened my relationships, but also provided insights I couldn't see on my own. Holiday's lesson taught me that failure is a powerful teacher when we have the humility to listen. Humility, according to Holiday, is the antidote to ego. It allows us to see ourselves clearly, acknowledge our limitations, and remain open to growth. Humility is not about thinking less of ourselves, but about thinking of ourselves less. I began cultivating humility by focusing on service. Whether mentoring a colleague or volunteering in my community, these acts reminded me that success isn't just about personal achievement. It's about contributing to something greater. These experiences grounded me and kept my ego in check. Holiday's insights also encouraged me to embrace criticism. Instead of viewing feedback as an attack, I saw it as a gift that could help me improve. This wasn't easy. My ego resisted vulnerability, but over time, I learned to value constructive criticism as a tool for growth. Humility, I realized, isn't a weakness. It's a strength that fosters resilience and growth. I also made a habit of reflecting on the contributions of others in my successes. Whether it was a team effort or the support of friends and family, acknowledging these influences humbled me and reinforced the interconnected nature of achievement. Gratitude and humility became intertwined practices that kept me grounded and focused on growth. Holiday emphasizes the importance of self-awareness in overcoming ego. By regularly reflecting on our thoughts, actions, and motivations, we can identify when ego is at play and make conscious choices to redirect our energy. I began a daily journaling practice to cultivate self-awareness. Each evening, I wrote about my successes, challenges, and moments where ego might have influenced my behavior. Over time, this practice revealed patterns and helped me make intentional changes. I also sought accountability from trusted friends and mentors. Their honest perspectives provided valuable insights into blind spots I couldn't see on my own. Holiday's lesson taught me that self-awareness is a continuous process that requires curiosity and courage. To deepen this practice, I started meditating for a few minutes each morning. This quiet time allowed me to observe my thoughts without judgment, creating space to identify ego-driven impulses. Self-awareness became a daily practice that equipped me to navigate challenges with greater clarity and intention. Discipline, Holiday explains, is essential for keeping ego in check. It requires us to prioritize long-term goals over short-term gratification, staying focused and consistent in our efforts. I began building discipline by creating routines that supported my goals. For example, I dedicated specific hours each day to learning new skills, regardless of distractions or excuses. These small, consistent actions built momentum and reinforced my commitment to growth. Holiday's insights also inspired me to embrace delayed gratification. Instead of seeking immediate rewards or recognition, I focused on the intrinsic value of my work. Discipline, I learned, is not about perfection but about persistence and progress. To strengthen my discipline, I also tracked my habits and celebrated small wins. This tracking provided tangible evidence of progress, motivating me to stay consistent even on difficult days. Discipline became a muscle I strengthened through practice, and it empowered me to take on challenges with confidence. Ego often drives us to cling to control, believing we must manage every detail to ensure success. Holiday argues that this mindset is counterproductive, leading to stress and resistance. I experienced this during a group project where I struggled to delegate tasks. My ego told me that no one else could meet my standards, but this approach left me overwhelmed and frustrated. Holiday's message encouraged me to trust others and let go of the need to control everything. By empowering my team and focusing on collaboration, I discovered that letting go didn't diminish my contributions, it enhanced them. This shift not only improved outcomes but also strengthened relationships. Holiday's lesson reminded me that true leadership is about empowering others, not micromanaging. To make this shift sustainable, I practiced active listening during team discussions, ensuring everyone's input was valued. This approach fostered trust and innovation, showing me that shared responsibility often leads to better outcomes than solitary control. Letting go of control became a liberating practice that enriched both my personal and professional life. At its core, Ego is the Enemy is about embracing the journey of self-improvement. Holiday reminds us that overcoming ego is not a one-time achievement but a lifelong practice. I committed to viewing each day as an opportunity to learn and grow. Whether through reading, seeking feedback, or reflecting on my actions, I approached life with curiosity and humility. This mindset transformed challenges into opportunities and kept me grounded in my values. Holiday's insights also encouraged me to celebrate progress rather than perfection. By focusing on the journey instead of the destination, I found greater fulfillment and resilience. Ego, I realized, is not the enemy of success. It's the enemy of true growth and contentment. I began setting monthly intentions, revisiting them regularly to track my growth. This practice reinforced the idea that improvement is incremental and continuous. With each step forward, I felt more connected to my goals and more willing to embrace the challenges ahead. The journey of self-improvement became a source of joy and meaning. Ego is the enemy taught me that the greatest obstacle to success often lies within. By practicing humility, discipline, and self-awareness, I learned to silence my ego and unlock my potential. What could you achieve if you let go of ego? Remember, the path to greatness begins with mastering yourself.